Have you ever spent nearly an hour explaining an insurance policy in great detail, its benefits, exclusions, premiums, claims process, and every feature imaginable, only for the client to smile politely and say, "I'll think about it"? Then, just a few months later, after an accident, illness, fire, or theft, that same client calls asking, "Do you still have that insurance plan we discussed?" What changed? Was it the policy, the premium, or the facts? Let's find out. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn could completely transform the way you sell insurance. Hello, and welcome to Insurance World TV, where we simplify insurance, finance, and professional development to help you become a more knowledgeable insurance professional and make smarter financial decisions. If you're new to the channel, you're most welcome. Please subscribe, like this video, and share it with fellow insurance professionals, students, marketers, and anyone who wants to understand the psychology behind successful insurance selling. Today, we are decoding the psychology of selling insurance, why clients buy with emotion and justify with logic. In this episode, you'll discover the psychology behind successful insurance selling and learn why clients buy with emotion before justifying their decisions with logic. We'll explore how to build trust, uncover the emotions behind objections, ask powerful questions, communicate with different personality types, handle rejection professionally, follow up effectively, and create lifelong client relationships. Whether you're an insurance agent, broker, underwriter, or student, these practical principles will help you move beyond selling policies to becoming a trusted advisor who inspires confidence and closes more business. Introduction. Every insurance professional has experienced this. You spend 40 minutes carefully presenting an insurance solution. You explain the benefits, exclusions, premiums, policy conditions, tax advantages, inflation protection, claims procedures, and optional riders. You answer every question confidently and believe you've addressed every concern. When you finish, the client smiles politely and says, "I'll think about it." Weeks or months pass. Then something unexpected happens. The client falls ill. Their vehicle is involved in an accident. Their business suffers a fire. Their home is broken into. Suddenly, the very insurance they postponed becomes a priority, and they begin asking about the proposal you presented months earlier. What happened? The answer is surprisingly simple. The client was never arguing with your facts. They were wrestling with their emotions. Insurance is unlike almost any other product. People buy phones because they want better technology. They buy cars because they want mobility. They book holidays because they want memorable experiences. But insurance is different. It asks people to spend money today to protect themselves against something they hope will never happen tomorrow. That creates emotional resistance long before logic enters the conversation. Many insurance professionals believe they are in the business of explaining insurance products. They spend years mastering underwriting, policy wording, exclusions, deductibles, and claims procedures, believing that technical expertise alone will persuade clients. But that is only part of the equation. The most successful insurance professionals understand that they are not merely selling insurance. They are helping people feel safe enough to make one of the most important financial decisions of their lives. Clients rarely reject insurance because they do not understand the policy. More often, they hesitate because they are uncertain, anxious, fearful of making the wrong decision, or unsure whether they can trust the person sitting across the table. This is why facts alone rarely close sales. Facts help clients justify their decisions. Emotions inspire them to make those decisions in the first place. People buy from professionals who make them feel understood, respected, and confident, not simply from those who know the most about insurance. That is the central idea of this guide. Over the next 20 chapters, we will explore the psychology behind successful insurance selling. You will discover how trust is built, why objections are usually emotional rather than logical, how powerful questions outperform persuasive speeches, why stories change minds better than statistics, how to communicate with different personality types, and why the most successful insurance professionals see themselves not as salespeople, but as trusted advisors. Master these principles, and you will stop trying to convince clients to buy insurance. Instead, you will help them arrive at the decision themselves. And that is where truly exceptional insurance selling begins. Chapter 1. Understand what your client is really buying. The most successful insurance professionals understand a simple but powerful truth. Clients do not buy insurance policies. They buy what those policies make possible. The policy document is merely a contract. What the client is truly investing in is the confidence that they, their loved ones, or their business will be financially protected when life's unexpected events occur. Every insurance purchase is driven by an emotional need. A parent purchasing an education policy is not simply paying premiums. They are investing in the hope that their child's education will continue, regardless of what the future holds. A business owner buying fire insurance is protecting more than a building or inventory. They are safeguarding the continuity of their business, the livelihoods of their employees, and the legacy they have worked so hard to build. A young professional purchasing medical insurance is not buying a hospital card. They are buying peace of mind, knowing that an unexpected illness or accident will not derail their financial future. A retiree investing in health insurance is not merely purchasing health care benefits. They are preserving their dignity, independence, and access to quality medical care during their later years. In every case, the insurance policy is simply the vehicle. The destination is emotional security. When you understand this principle, your conversations with clients naturally become more meaningful. Instead of focusing exclusively on policy features, premiums, exclusions, and benefits, you begin to explore the client's aspirations, concerns, responsibilities, and fears. You stop selling products and start providing solutions to the emotional needs that drive buying decisions. Whenever you struggle to close a sale, resist the temptation to ask, "How can I explain this policy better?" Instead, ask yourself, what emotional need has not yet been addressed? Often, the client already understands the policy. What they are still searching for is the confidence that it will protect what matters most to them. Once you identify and address that emotional need, the conversation shifts from explaining insurance to demonstrating its value. Remember, people rarely buy insurance because they want a policy document. They buy it because they want certainty, security, and peace of mind. Master this distinction, and you will transform the way you sell and the way your clients experience your service. Chapter 2. Every objection has an emotion behind it. One of the greatest mistakes an insurance professional can make is assuming that every objection is purely logical. In reality, most objections are emotional first and rational second. Clients often express their concerns in practical terms, but beneath those words lies an emotion that is influencing their decision. Your role is not simply to respond to the objection you hear, but to understand the feeling that created it. When you address the underlying emotion, the objection often loses its power. Consider these common examples. Number 1. Insurance is too expensive. This is rarely just about price. More often, the client is thinking, I'm afraid of making the wrong financial decision. They are not necessarily rejecting the premium. They are seeking reassurance that the investment is worthwhile and that they will receive value for their money. Number 2. I need to think about it. This phrase can mean several things, including, I don't feel confident enough to make this decision yet. Or, I'm not sure I trust you enough yet. Rather than pushing for an immediate commitment, help the client gain the confidence and clarity they need to move forward. Number 3. I've never trusted insurance companies. What the client is often communicating is, I've heard stories of people whose expectations were not met, and I'm afraid the same thing could happen to me. This is not simply an objection to insurance. It is an expression of fear based on past experiences or the experiences of others. Building trust through honesty, transparency, and education becomes essential. Number 4. I've never made a claim. The underlying thought is often, I haven't experienced the value of insurance, so I'm questioning whether it's worth paying for. This presents an opportunity to explain that insurance is designed to provide financial protection against events we hope will never happen, not to guarantee frequent claims. Number 5. I'll buy next year. In many cases, this simply means, I don't feel a sense of urgency today. The client may understand the importance of insurance, but has not yet connected the risks of delaying with the potential financial consequences. Your responsibility is to help them appreciate the cost of waiting without resorting to fear-based selling. The most effective insurance professionals understand that people rarely buy or refuse to buy for purely logical reasons. Decisions are shaped by emotions such as fear, uncertainty, trust, confidence, and perceived value. Facts help clients justify their decisions, but emotions often determine them. Rather than arguing with the objection that is spoken, become curious about the emotion behind it. Ask thoughtful questions, listen carefully, and seek to understand before you seek to persuade. Great insurance professionals don't overcome objections by talking more. They overcome objections by uncovering the emotions that created them and addressing those emotions with empathy, honesty, and confidence. Chapter 3. Before selling, reduce anxiety. Insurance is unlike most products. It requires people to think about events they would rather avoid, like illness, accidents, disability, death, or financial loss. These are deeply personal and often uncomfortable subjects. As a result, many clients instinctively become anxious the moment an insurance conversation begins. This reaction is natural. Human beings are wired to avoid uncertainty and emotionally distressing topics. When faced with conversations about potential risks, many people unconsciously protect themselves by changing the subject, postponing the discussion, or dismissing the need for insurance altogether. As an insurance professional, it is important to recognize that this initial resistance is not necessarily a rejection of you or the product. More often, it is an emotional response to the discomfort of confronting life's uncertainties. Instead of pushing harder, acknowledge and normalize the client's feelings. When clients realize that their discomfort is common and understood, they become more relaxed and receptive. For example, rather than saying, "You need insurance," try saying, "Most people feel uncomfortable talking about insurance because no one enjoys thinking about life's uncertainties. That's completely understandable. My role isn't to make you worry. It's to help you prepare so you can face the future with greater confidence and peace of mind." This simple shift in language can have a profound impact. It communicates empathy instead of pressure, understanding instead of judgment. The client no longer feels that they are being sold to, they feel that they are being understood. When anxiety decreases, trust begins to grow. And when trust grows, meaningful conversations become possible. Remember, clients rarely resist insurance itself. They resist the emotions the conversation evokes. Great insurance professionals don't fight that emotion. They acknowledge it, normalize it, and gently guide clients from fear and uncertainty toward confidence and peace of mind. Chapter 4. Curiosity closes more business than persuasion. Many insurance professionals believe that the key to closing more sales is becoming better at persuading clients. In reality, the most successful advisors spend less time convincing and more time understanding. They recognize that curiosity is far more powerful than persuasion. One of the most common mistakes in insurance sales is talking too much. Clients do not want lengthy presentations before they feel understood. They want someone who is genuinely interested in their circumstances, concerns, and goals. Exceptional insurance professionals achieve this by asking thoughtful, relevant questions and listening carefully to the answers. Remember, questions invite ownership. Lectures create resistance. Well-crafted questions encourage clients to reflect on their own situations and recognize risks they may not have previously considered. When clients arrive at these realizations themselves, they are far more likely to act than if they are simply told what they should do. For example, instead of asking, "Do you need medical insurance?" ask, "If someone in your family needed emergency surgery tomorrow, what would concern you most?" This question shifts the conversation from a simple yes or no response to a meaningful discussion about financial preparedness, family responsibilities, and peace of mind. Similarly, rather than asking, "Do you have life insurance?" consider asking, "If something unexpected happened to you today, who would take care of your family's financial responsibilities?" This question encourages the client to think beyond the policy itself and focus on the people who depend on them. It transforms the discussion from buying insurance to protecting loved ones. Throughout your conversations, ask open-ended questions that help clients explore their priorities, identify potential risks, and recognize the consequences of being unprepared. Then listen attentively. The more clients talk about their own needs, the less you need to persuade them. People trust conclusions they arrive at themselves, far more than conclusions imposed upon them by someone else. Your role is not to convince clients that they need insurance. It is to ask the right questions so they discover that need for themselves. The best insurance professionals don't close sales by delivering the perfect presentation. They close sales by asking the right questions, listening with genuine curiosity, and guiding clients toward their own informed decisions. Chapter 5. Trust is built long before the proposal form. Insurance is built on one foundation above all else: trust. While technical knowledge and product expertise are important, they are rarely the primary reasons clients choose one insurance professional over another. More often, clients place their confidence in advisors who consistently demonstrate reliability, honesty, and genuine care. Trust is not created in a single meeting or during the presentation of a quotation. It is built gradually through a series of small, everyday interactions. Clients pay attention to the details, and those details shape their perception of your professionalism. Ask yourself, do you arrive when you promised? Do you remember important details about your clients, such as their children's names or significant milestones? Do you respond promptly during emergencies, even outside normal office hours when appropriate? Do you admit when you don't know an answer instead of guessing? Do you return missed calls and keep your commitments? Each of these actions may seem small, but together they determine whether a client sees you as dependable and trustworthy. Think of trust as a bank account. Every positive interaction is a deposit. Every broken promise, missed deadline, ignored call, or unfulfilled commitment is a withdrawal. Over time, these deposits and withdrawals determine the strength of your relationship with the client. By the time you present your proposal or quotation, the client has often already decided whether they trust you. The discussion about premiums, benefits, and policy features simply confirms or challenges that decision. Remember, clients buy insurance from people they trust before they buy insurance from companies they recognize. Product knowledge may open the conversation, but trust closes the sale. Build trust long before you present the proposal form. Be reliable. Be honest, keep your promises, and consistently demonstrate that your client's best interests come first. When trust is firmly established, the premium becomes just one part of the conversation, not the deciding factor. Chapter 6. Listen until the client feels heard. One of the most underrated skills in insurance sales is the ability to listen. Many agents listen only long enough to formulate their next response. Exceptional insurance professionals listen with a different objective: to fully understand the client and make them feel genuinely heard. Clients are more likely to trust someone who understands our concerns than someone who simply has all the answers. Before offering solutions, take the time to understand the experiences, beliefs, and emotions that shape their perspective. For example, when a client says, "I don't trust insurance," the natural temptation may be to immediately defend the industry, explain policy benefits, or argue against their perception. Instead, pause and ask, "Tell me what happened." Then listen. Allow the client to share their story without interruption. Often, what appears to be an objection is actually the result of a past experience that left a lasting impression. Perhaps they experienced a claim that was declined. Perhaps they struggled with poor communication from an insurer or intermediary. Perhaps a friend, family member, or colleague felt disappointed by an insurance company and shared that experience with them. Whatever the reason, The client is not simply expressing an opinion. They are revealing the experiences that shaped their beliefs. Your responsibility is not to challenge those experiences, but to understand them. When people feel heard, their emotional defenses begin to lower. They become less focused on protecting their position and more open to exploring new information and alternative perspectives. Listening also demonstrates respect. It shows the client that you value their concerns and are genuinely interested in helping them make an informed decision rather than simply making a sale. Remember, people do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. The fastest way to demonstrate that you care is to listen attentively, patiently, and without judgment. Great insurance professionals do not listen merely to respond. They listen to understand. And when clients feel understood, trust begins to grow. Once trust is established, meaningful conversations and informed decisions naturally follow. Chapter 7. Stories change minds better than statistics. Facts and statistics are important, but they rarely inspire action on their own. Stories, on the other hand, make risks feel real, relatable, and memorable. While statistics appeal to the mind, stories speak to the heart, and people are far more likely to remember how a story made them feel than the numbers they were shown. Consider these two approaches. One agent says to a client as a sales pitch, "Medical inflation is increasing every year. When you get to the hospital, it will be more expensive than you imagine." Another agent uses a real-life story. "Last month, I met a father who believed his 200,000 Kenyan shilling savings would be enough to pay for his daughter's surgery. By the time she was discharged, the hospital bill had risen to nearly 1.4 million Kenyan shillings. Without insurance, the family faced an enormous financial burden they never imagined." Question: which of these two messages is likely to stay with a client? Obviously, the pitch with the story. Stories transform abstract risks into real-life experiences. They help clients visualize the consequences of being unprepared and the value of having the right insurance protection in place. Instead of imagining someone else, they begin to picture themselves, their families, or their businesses in a similar situation. That is why stories are such powerful communication tools. They activate imagination, evoke emotion, and make complex insurance concepts easier to understand. Statistics may support your recommendation, but stories give those statistics meaning. As an insurance professional, develop a collection of real, ethical, and anonymous client stories drawn from your own experience. Share examples of claims that were successfully settled, businesses that recovered after devastating losses, families whose futures were protected, and individuals who avoided financial hardship because they had the right cover in place. Always protect client confidentiality by removing names and identifying details, and never exaggerate or fabricate a story for the sake of making a sale. Authenticity is what gives stories their power. Remember, clients may forget the figures in your presentation, but they will remember the story that helped them understand why insurance matters. Great insurance professionals don't just present policies. They tell stories that educate, inspire, and move people to protect what matters most. Chapter 8. Never sell fear. Sell preparedness. Insurance is designed to protect people from life's uncertainties, but that does not mean your sales approach should be driven by fear. While fear may capture a client's attention, it rarely builds lasting trust. Clients can quickly sense when they are being pressured or manipulated, and few appreciate conversations that focus solely on worst-case scenarios. The most effective insurance professionals do not sell fear. They sell preparedness, confidence, and peace of mind. Their goal is not to make clients anxious about the future, but to help them feel empowered and financially secure, whatever the future may bring. Instead of asking questions that create fear, frame your conversation around the positive outcomes that insurance makes possible. For example, rather than saying, "What if you die?" try saying, "I want your family to continue enjoying the life you've worked so hard to build, no matter what the future holds." Notice the difference? The first statement focuses on loss and uncertainty. The second focuses on protection, continuity, and the client's enduring legacy. The same principle applies across all classes of insurance. Instead of emphasizing disasters, emphasize recovery. Instead of dwelling on financial loss, focus on financial resilience. Instead of highlighting what could go wrong, demonstrate how insurance helps clients move forward with confidence when life takes an unexpected turn. Clients are far more likely to respond positively when they see insurance as a tool that protects their dreams, preserves their lifestyle, safeguards their business, and secures their family's future, not as a reminder of everything that could go wrong. Remember, fear may start a conversation, but hope, confidence, and preparedness are what inspire people to act. The role of an insurance professional is not to predict disaster, but to help clients prepare wisely so they can face the future with greater certainty and peace of mind. Great insurance professionals don't sell fear. They sell confidence. They don't dwell on uncertainty. They help people prepare for it. Chapter 9. Replace pressure with partnership. One of the quickest ways to lose a client's trust is to make them feel pressured. Insurance is a significant financial decision, and clients want to feel that they are making the choice willingly, not because they have been pushed into it. While pressure may occasionally produce a sale, partnership builds relationships that last. The most successful insurance professionals do not see themselves as salespeople chasing monthly targets. They see themselves as trusted advisors helping individuals, families, and businesses make informed financial decisions. Their focus is not on closing a sale, but on helping the client arrive at the right decision with confidence. The language you use plays a critical role in creating this sense of partnership. Instead of saying, "You need to sign today," try saying, "My responsibility is to help you understand your options so you can make the decision that is right for you." This subtle shift changes the entire conversation. Rather than feeling pressured, the client feels respected. They recognize that you are there to guide, educate, and support, not to force a decision. Partnership also means involving the client in the decision-making process. Ask for their views, encourage questions, and invite them to weigh the advantages and considerations of each option. When clients participate in finding the solution, they are more likely to feel confident in the outcome and committed to their decision. Remember, insurance is built on trust, and trust cannot flourish where pressure exists. Clients appreciate professionals who are patient, transparent, and genuinely committed to helping them make the best choice for their unique circumstances. Pressure creates resistance. Partnership creates confidence. When clients see you as a trusted advisor rather than a salesperson, they are far more likely to choose your recommendation, remain loyal, and confidently refer others to your services. Chapter 10. Understand different client personalities. Every client is different. Understanding their personality and adapting your communication style accordingly will help you build trust, meet their needs, and close more sales. Here are some common client personality types. 1. The analytical client. This client is analytical and evidence-oriented. They are unlikely to be persuaded by emotion alone. Instead, provide well-researched comparisons, claim settlement statistics, policy wording, financial strength ratings, customer testimonials, and independent industry reports. The more credible and verifiable your evidence, the more confident they will feel in choosing your recommendation. 2. The emotional client. This client makes decisions based primarily on emotions and personal values. They want to feel understood, protected, and reassured before they commit to buying. While facts are important, they're secondary to the emotional confidence they derive from believing they're making the right choice. Focus your conversation on the people and priorities that matter most to them, their family, loved ones, peace of mind, and long-term financial security. Help them visualize how insurance provides protection during life's uncertainties and ensures that those they care about will be financially secure even in their absence. Rather than overwhelming them with technical policy details, share relatable stories, real-life claims experiences, and practical examples that demonstrate how insurance has transformed lives by providing stability during difficult times. Use empathetic language that acknowledges their concerns and reinforces the emotional value of being prepared. Your objective is not merely to sell an insurance policy, but to help the client feel confident, cared for, and secure in the knowledge that they have taken a responsible step toward protecting the people and future they value most. 3. The busy executive. This client values efficiency, clarity, and results. Their schedule is demanding, and they have little patience for lengthy presentations or unnecessary detail. They expect you to respect their time by getting straight to the point. Show them only the most relevant information, beginning with the key benefits and your recommendation. Use concise language. Summarize complex policy features into simple takeaways and highlight how the product addresses their specific needs. Avoid information overload, but be prepared to provide additional details if requested. Structure your presentation with clear bullet points or brief summaries, emphasizing the value proposition, key coverage, premium, and any critical exclusions. Demonstrate that you have done your homework by anticipating their questions and presenting solutions efficiently. Your goal is to make the decision easy. A busy executive appreciates an advisor who is well-prepared, organized, and capable of delivering the right information in the shortest possible time without compromising on accuracy or professionalism. 4. The skeptical client. This client approaches every recommendation with caution and healthy skepticism. They are unlikely to accept your advice at face value and will often question your motives, the product's value, and the insurer's promises. Rather than viewing this as resistance, recognize it as a desire for certainty before committing. Be patient and create an environment where the client feels comfortable asking questions. Listen carefully to their concerns, acknowledge them respectfully, and respond with clear, factual, and honest explanations. Never become defensive or dismissive, even if their questions seem repetitive or challenging. Build credibility through transparency. Explain not only what the policy covers, but also its exclusions, limitations, waiting periods, and conditions. If you don't know the answer to a question, admit it and commit to finding the correct information rather than making assumptions. Supporting your explanations with policy wording, claims examples, independent ratings, and regulatory information will further strengthen your credibility. Your objective is not to win the argument, but to earn the client's trust. A skeptical client is far more likely to buy from an advisor who is transparent, patient, and honest than from one who appears evasive or overly persuasive. In the end, transparency doesn't just overcome skepticism, it builds lasting confidence and long-term relationships. 5. The talkative client. This client values personal connection before business. They enjoy conversation, sharing stories, and building rapport, and they're more likely to buy from someone they know, like, and trust. For them, the relationship often carries as much weight as the product itself. Resist the urge to rush into your sales presentation. Instead, invest time in genuine conversation. Show interest in their experiences, family, hobbies, career, or current events, and listen attentively. These informal discussions help establish trust and often reveal valuable insights into their needs, priorities, and motivations. As the conversation naturally progresses, transition smoothly into discussing their insurance needs by linking the product to topics they have already shared. Keep the interaction engaging, but gently guide the discussion back to the purpose of the meeting when appropriate to ensure you remain productive. Your objective is to build a relationship before presenting a solution. A talkative client is more likely to choose an advisor who makes them feel heard, valued, and understood than one who focuses solely on features, benefits, and premiums. Remember, with this client, people buy the relationship first, the product second. Every client is different, and there is no one-size-fits-all approach to communication. The most successful insurance professionals recognize this and adapt their communication style to match each client's personality, preferences, and decision-making process. Don't expect every client to adjust to your way of communicating. Instead, adjust your approach to meet them where they are. When you communicate in a way that resonates with a client, you build trust, strengthen relationships, and significantly increase your chances of closing the sale and earning long-term loyalty. Chapter 11. Silence is one of your strongest selling skills. Many insurance professionals believe that great selling is all about knowing what to say. In reality, some of the most successful sales are won by knowing when to stop talking. Once you have presented your recommendation and answered the client's questions, resist the urge to keep explaining, persuading, or filling every moment with conversation. State your recommendation clearly, then allow the client time to think. Silence often feels uncomfortable, especially for new agents. In an attempt to ease the discomfort, they continue talking, adding unnecessary information, introducing new objections, discounting their own recommendation, or even talking themselves out of a sale. The client, however, needs time to process the information, weigh their options, and arrive at a decision. Silence creates the mental space they need to do exactly that. A thoughtful pause also demonstrates confidence. It signals that you believe in the value of your recommendation and are comfortable allowing it to stand on its own merits. Clients are far more likely to trust an advisor who listens patiently than one who feels compelled to dominate the conversation. Do not fear silence. Instead, use it strategically. Maintain positive body language, remain attentive, and be prepared to respond when the client is ready. Often, given enough quiet space, clients will answer their own doubts, reinforce the value of the solution, and convince themselves that moving forward is the right decision. Remember, the first person to speak after a well-delivered recommendation is often the one who weakens their negotiating position. Master the art of silence, and you will discover that one of the most powerful selling tools is not what you say. It is knowing when not to say anything at all. Chapter 12. Handle rejection professionally. Rejection is an inevitable part of every insurance professional's career. No matter how skilled or experienced you are, not every prospect will choose to buy. Rather than viewing rejection as failure, see it as an opportunity to learn, improve, and strengthen your approach. When a client declines your recommendation, remain calm, courteous, and professional. Avoid becoming defensive or taking the decision personally. A respectful response preserves the relationship and leaves the door open for future opportunities. Instead of ending the conversation immediately, seek constructive feedback by asking, "Would you mind sharing what influenced your decision? Your feedback will help me serve you better." This simple question demonstrates humility, professionalism, and a genuine desire to improve. It may also uncover the real reason behind the client's decision. In many cases, the objection has little to do with the product itself. The issue may be timing, competing financial priorities, a lack of trust, insufficient understanding of the policy, or the need to consult a spouse, business partner, or financial advisor. By identifying the true concern, you gain valuable insights that can improve your future client interactions. Every decline proposal is a learning opportunity. Reflect on each experience, evaluate what went well and what could be improved, and use those lessons to refine your communication and sales process. Remember, a no today does not always mean never. Many successful sales begin with an initial rejection, followed by consistent professionalism, relationship building, and timely follow-up. Treat every rejection as a stepping stone to becoming a more effective and trusted insurance advisor. Chapter 13. The Psychology of Following Up. Many insurance professionals misunderstand the purpose of following up. Effective follow-up is not about repeatedly asking whether the client has made a decision. It is about continuing to provide value. Instead of sending messages such as, "I'm just checking whether you've decided," use each interaction to educate, inform, or address a concern the client previously expressed. Every follow-up should leave the client better informed than they were before. For example, you might say, "I came across an article about rising medical costs and thought it might be relevant to our recent discussion." Or, "I remembered our conversation about protecting your business. I found a case study that addresses the exact concern you raised and thought you might find it useful." This approach demonstrates that you are genuinely interested in helping the client make an informed decision rather than simply pursuing a sale. It positions you as a trusted advisor who provides insights and solutions, not just insurance products. Each follow-up should have a clear purpose: sharing useful information, clarifying policy features, answering unanswered questions, or providing updates that are relevant to the client's needs. By consistently adding value, you build credibility and remain top of mind without creating pressure. Remember, persistence without value becomes an annoyance. Persistence with value builds trust. Never strive to be a nuisance. Strive to become a trusted resource whom clients turn to whenever they need guidance or advice. Chapter 14. During claims, become the calmest person in the room. A client's perception of your professionalism is rarely shaped by the day they purchase a policy. It is shaped by how you support them when they need to make a claim. Claims are the true test of both the insurance policy and the advisor behind it. When a client experiences a loss, they are often anxious, frustrated, or overwhelmed. In those moments, your role extends beyond that of an insurance professional. You become a trusted guide. Your calmness, empathy, and reassurance can make a significant difference during what may be one of the most difficult days of their life. Respond promptly to calls, messages, and emails. Explain the claims process in simple, straightforward language, avoiding technical insurance jargon that may confuse or intimidate the client. Clearly outline the next steps, the required documentation, expected timelines, and what they should anticipate throughout the process. Be honest and set realistic expectations from the outset. If a claim is likely to take longer than expected, communicate this early and explain the reasons. Clients are generally understanding when they are kept informed. What creates frustration is uncertainty and a lack of communication. Remember, silence creates suspicion, while communication builds confidence. Even if there is no new development, a brief update reassures the client that their claim is being actively managed and that they have not been forgotten. The way you handle a claim will often determine whether a client remains loyal to you for years to come. Many long-term client relationships are strengthened, not during the sales process, but during the claims process, when trust, professionalism, and genuine care matter most. A policy may win you a customer, but an exceptional claims experience earns you a lifelong client. Chapter 15. After the sale, continue serving. The sale is not the end of the client relationship. It is the beginning. Unfortunately, many insurance agents disappear once the policy is issued and the commission is earned. Exceptional insurance professionals take a different approach. They remain engaged, providing ongoing advice and support throughout the client's journey. Make it a habit to review your client's insurance needs at least once a year. Life is constantly changing, and insurance should evolve to reflect those changes. Marriage, the birth of a child, purchasing a home, expanding a business, changing employment, or acquiring new assets can all affect a client's insurance requirements. Stay connected by celebrating policy anniversaries, congratulating clients on personal and business milestones, and sharing relevant insights that help them better understand their coverage. These thoughtful interactions strengthen relationships and demonstrate that your commitment extends far beyond the initial sale. During every review, ask questions that encourage meaningful conversations such as, has anything changed in your family, finances, or business since we last reviewed your insurance cover? This simple question often uncovers new risks, changing priorities, or opportunities to improve the client's protection. By maintaining regular contact and providing ongoing value, you position yourself as a trusted advisor rather than just an insurance salesperson. Clients who feel supported throughout their lives are more likely to remain loyal, renew their policies, purchase additional products, and confidently recommend your services to others. Remember, commissions are earned once, but trust is earned continuously. The most successful insurance professionals don't just sell policies, they build lifelong relationships. Chapter 16. Transform clients into advocates. Winning a client is an achievement. Turning that client into an advocate is the hallmark of a truly exceptional insurance professional. A satisfied client is likely to renew their policy. A delighted client, however, becomes your ambassador, recommending your services to family, friends, colleagues, and business associates. The difference lies not in the product you sell, but in the experience you consistently deliver. Every interaction is an opportunity to strengthen that experience. Respond promptly to inquiries, honor your commitments, communicate clearly, and make complex insurance concepts easy to understand. Be present when clients need you most, especially during the claims process, and celebrate successful claim settlements with them. These moments leave lasting impressions that clients remember and share with others. Maintain regular contact even when you are not selling. Check in periodically, share useful insights, congratulate clients on personal or business milestones, and continue providing value without expecting an immediate return. Genuine care builds trust, and trust builds loyalty. People naturally recommend professionals who consistently exceed their expectations. They do not refer insurance policies. They refer advisors who have earned their confidence through exceptional service, reliability, and integrity. Remember, relationships are the foundation of referrals. Advertising may introduce people to your business, but outstanding client experiences inspire them to recommend you. The most powerful marketing strategy has always been a delighted client who says, "You should speak to my insurance advisor." Chapter 17. Master Emotional Intelligence. Technical knowledge may earn you credibility, but emotional intelligence earns you trust. In insurance, clients are not only listening to your words, they are also observing your attitude, tone of voice, body language, and emotional state. These subtle signals often influence their confidence in you as much as your professional expertise. Clients are remarkably perceptive. If you appear desperate to make a sale, they may become cautious. If you seem impatient or frustrated, they are likely to become defensive or withdraw from the conversation. Conversely, when you remain calm, confident, empathetic, and genuinely focused on helping them, clients feel more comfortable, understood, and willing to engage. Before every client meeting, take a moment to reflect on your mindset by asking yourself, what emotional state am I bringing into this meeting? Leave behind any stress, disappointment, or distractions from previous appointments. Approach each client with a positive attitude, genuine curiosity, and a sincere desire to understand their needs rather than simply closing a sale. Emotional intelligence also means recognizing and responding appropriately to the client's emotions. Listen actively, demonstrate empathy, remain composed during difficult conversations, and adapt your communication to match the client's emotional state. Clients are far more likely to trust an advisor who makes them feel heard, respected, and valued. Remember, your mood is contagious. The emotional energy you bring into a meeting often shapes the emotional experience of your client. Make sure the confidence, professionalism, and reassurance you project are the qualities they leave remembering. Chapter 18. Words that build trust. The words you choose can either build trust or create resistance. Small changes in language often have a significant impact on how clients perceive you and your recommendations. Thoughtful, respectful communication helps clients feel understood, respected, and confident in your advice. Avoid language that sounds confrontational, dismissive, or overly assertive. Instead, use phrases that acknowledge the client's perspective while guiding the conversation constructively. For example, instead of saying, "You don't understand," say, "Let me explain that in a different way." Instead of, "You're wrong," say, "I can understand why many people see it that way. Here's another perspective to consider." Instead of, "This policy is the best," say, "Based on what you've shared with me about your needs and priorities, this appears to be the most suitable option for you." These subtle changes demonstrate empathy, respect, and professionalism. Rather than telling clients what to think, they invite them into a collaborative conversation, making them more receptive to your recommendations. Remember, clients are not simply evaluating your product, they are evaluating you. Every word either strengthens or weakens their confidence in your expertise and intentions. Trust is built one conversation at a time, and every conversation is shaped by the words you choose. Speak with empathy, clarity, and respect, and your clients will be far more willing to listen, engage, and ultimately place their trust in your advice. Chapter 19. Selling is serving. The most successful insurance professionals do not view selling as persuading people to buy a policy. They view it as helping people protect what matters most. When you genuinely believe that insurance safeguards families, businesses, livelihoods, and dreams, selling becomes an act of service rather than a transaction. Clients can sense authenticity. They are more likely to trust an advisor whose recommendations are driven by their best interests rather than by commissions or sales targets. Your role is not to sell the most expensive policy, but to recommend the most appropriate solution for the client's unique needs and circumstances. Always act with honesty and integrity. Never recommend coverage a client does not need. Never conceal exclusions, limitations, or waiting periods. Never make promises about claims outcomes that are beyond your control. Transparency builds confidence, while unrealistic promises create disappointment and erode trust. Professional integrity should always take precedence over short-term sales success. A single dishonest sale may generate immediate income, but it can destroy years of hard-earned credibility. Conversely, an honest conversation, even if it does not result in an immediate sale, can establish the trust that leads to a lifelong client relationship. Remember, people may forget the policy details, but they will never forget how honestly and professionally they were treated. Long-term success belongs to insurance professionals whose integrity is stronger than their sales ambition. In the end, selling is not about closing a transaction. It is about serving people with competence, honesty, and genuine care. Chapter 20. The Insurance Professional's Daily Mindset. Your mindset shapes every client interaction. Before you make a call, attend a meeting, or present a recommendation, remind yourself why you chose this profession. The way you think about your role influences the way you communicate, the confidence you project, and the trust you inspire. Begin each day with purpose by affirming, I am not interrupting people's lives. I am helping them protect what matters most. I am not chasing signatures. I am helping families and businesses prepare for the future. I am not selling fear. I am offering confidence, security, and peace of mind. I am not pushing products. I am providing solutions to life's financial uncertainties. When you adopt this mindset, selling ceases to feel like a transaction and becomes a meaningful act of service. Your conversations become more genuine, your recommendations more client-focused, and your relationships more authentic. Clients can sense the difference. They recognize when they are speaking with someone who is genuinely committed to helping rather than simply closing a sale. That authenticity fosters trust, strengthens relationships, and creates lasting loyalty. Remember, your greatest asset is not the policy you sell. It is the purpose that drives you. Approach every client with the mindset of a trusted advisor and a servant leader, and success will naturally follow. The insurance professionals who make the greatest impact are those who see every conversation as an opportunity to protect lives, preserve dreams, and secure a better future. Insurance has never been about policies alone. It has always been about people. Behind every proposal form is a parent trying to protect a child, a business owner protecting years of hard work, a young graduate planning a future, a retiree hoping to preserve dignity. The greatest insurance professionals understand that before they speak about premiums, they must understand dreams. Before discussing exclusions, they must understand fears. Before recommending products, they must earn trust. Knowledge may earn respect. Empathy earns confidence. Integrity earns loyalty. Service earns referrals. When clients look back years later, they are unlikely to remember every feature of the policy you sold them. They may not recall the premium or the technical wording. What they will remember is how you made them feel during moments of uncertainty. They will remember the agent who answered the phone after an accident, who patiently explained a confusing clause, who checked in after a claim, and who treated them as people rather than sales targets. That is the highest standard of insurance professionalism. Master products, certainly. Study underwriting, taxation, regulations, and claims procedures. But above all, master people. Because in insurance, policies protect lives, but relationships build careers. That brings us to the end of today's rather long, but hopefully valuable episode. If this video has given you even one new idea that will help you become a better insurance professional, do me a favor. Give it a thumbs up, share it with a colleague, and subscribe to Insurance World TV if you haven't already. It really helps the channel reach more insurance professionals, students, and anyone who wants to improve their communication, sales, and financial knowledge. We'd also love to hear from you. Which chapter resonated with you the most? Was it building trust, handling objections, mastering emotional intelligence, or perhaps the power of storytelling? Let me know in the comments below. Remember, people don't buy insurance because they understand every policy clause. They buy because they trust someone who understands them. Focus on serving rather than selling. Build relationships before transactions, and you'll not only close more business, but also make a lasting difference in the lives of your clients. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Insurance World TV. Until next time, stay informed, stay protected, and keep making insurance make sense. God bless, and I'll see you in the next